Yes, Srinisan.
Audible, hello?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Srinisan,
Sachin, can
yeah,
we?
yeah, sir. Please start the event. We are
Yeah, namaste. Good morning, all. So, thank you very much for joining this webinar series. So, this is the first effort from TKM during this year to start our webinar series. So, first webinar will be on how we can adopt eco lifestyle so that we can give better tomorrow for our children. Will be the first webinar content. Just to take you a little background, uh, 5th June is celebrated as World Environment Day every year globally. And every year, the United Nations comes up with a specific theme considering whichever the specific content of the environment in the globe we have to improve. They will choose that and then they will select the theme. So this year, the theme was ecosystem restoration from the United States. So we have seen a lot of destruction in ecosystem. Now it's time we have to start reverting the restoration of the ecosystems. And also at Toyota, we do not celebrate one day as a World Environment Day. We involve all stakeholders and celebrate the Toyota Global Environment Month and promote many activities. And as part of this month, we have organized various webinars so that we can enhance environment consciousness to all stakeholders. And today the webinar content is eco lifestyle, how we can adopt and lead eco lifestyle. Our environment team of TKM and TCAP combinedly we have organized this and we are doing this webinar. And we are following by many other webinars like water sustainability by Mr. Vishwanath, who is called as a Zen Rainman, zero waste lifestyle from Miss Vanimurthy, the compost queen, she is called as. Then urban forestry. So I think the Toyota community must be proud of Mr. Subhendu Sharma, who was our employee and now who is contributing development of forests across the world. And he will be addressing us on that day with his experience. And then on the last week, we will learn about hybrid technologies, which is one of the sustainable mobility mode of Toyota. So these are the webinar series. So please continue your participation in all the webinars to learn more about Toyota and also Toyota's consciousness towards environment and society. And yes, environment is not a job for anybody. It is our basic responsibility which we have to fulfill being born as a human on this planet. Okay. With this note, let me first take you on the background. What is the history of arrival on of life on the Earth? The planet has arrived 4.5 billion years ago. The planet has arrived 4.5 billion years ago, and the 3.8 billion years ago, the first life form has arrived. 3.8 billion years. That means it took almost nearly 0.7 billion years from the planet formation to first life. Then it took on million years for each life to arrive on the planet. Like first land animal, 435 million years. First reptile, 360 million years. First mammal, 215 million years. Then finally, the human arrived just before 1.7 million years ago. Approximately 1 second out of 24 hours, we are here on this planet. But unfortunately, We are already destroyed a lot. Here the takeaway is any change on the planet has to be very long term and sustainable. The quick changes on the planet with the latest development and technology is taking the human race towards its end. So now let us look why these problems are happening. First, in our ancient civilization, we used to worship Panchabhutas, which are Akasha, Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu. So we were worshipping these not because simply they are God. We were worshipping because without these five elements, there cannot be any life on the planet. Not only human, there cannot be any life on this planet without these five elements. So as a vow to protect these five elements from any pollution or any disaster, we started believing that they are gods. Because so our intention behind that was we have to protect them without any harm to them so that we can live happily. But when the intention turned to ritual, what's happening? Let us see. First, we were worshipping Ganga. We were worshipping air and soil with the intention that it is like God, I will protect you so that I can live on this planet. Because of you, I am living on this planet. But now you can see the scenario. We go to Ganga river and do all the puja and dump all the waste materials into the Ganga river only, or anywhere we are offering the puja. So this is what will happen without understanding the intentions of worshipping them and just turn it into a ritual. So basically we have to respect them because we have to respect them to ensure that they will not become polluted, which will be harmful to the all the life forms on the planet. But now it is only an simply a ritual to do offer a puja. So we are everywhere we are polluting. So you can see we have not left any area unpolluted, including the deep forest areas and also Himalayan ranges. So this is the contribution of the development. Next, let us understand who is the polluter. So there are 8.7 million species on this planet, 87 lakh species, and human is one species out of that. Out of 87 lakh, we are only one species. Who is the polluter on this planet? The only one species, human. No other species indulge into any sort of pollution on this planet. Why we are the only polluters on this planet? Let's see the life of animals. See, the animals and birds build their nest only when it is required, when they require to give birth to the younger ones. And they build with only the natural materials which will not harm any environment. And also they eat when they are hungry, and they will not keep on killing and removing fruits every day just to store. They only eat when they are hungry, otherwise they will just relax, chill, keep going around, enjoying their life. So, but what we are doing, yes, this is in the name of development. We are building huge infrastructure, which are all the things what we are building is polluting. The fashion industry is the second largest polluting industry in the world. Then the buildings, air conditioning malls, airports, all the transport vehicles, electronic gadgets, all the chemicals, factory made food. We have completely come out of the environment. We were supposed to live as part of environment, but now we are trying to live on environment by coming out completely from the environment. And you can see our lifestyle, the modern lifestyle. This is what we are calling as the development. If we are developed means we are here. So now you can understand what is development and who is the real polluter. Okay. So if you see the picture, this picture, you can really understand what is development. We always presume that the first one, the above picture is development, the below picture is underdeveloped. But really, honestly speaking, those people are living in environment happily with the nature. So next, what are the problems happening because of this? So we have lost more than 50% biodiversity. And remember one thing, if the planet gets dominated by one species, then that species will get wiped off. Same thing may happen to humans if we remove all other biodiversity and if we dominate the planet. Next, already we are consuming 1.5 times the planet what it can rejuvenate. So if we continue like this, we need 3 planets by 2050 to give our basic needs like food, water, air, all these things. So otherwise we have to wipe out 2/3 of the population on this planet. So it is time we start changing our habits and living attitude, so that by 2050 we can go back to what we can rejuvenate in one planet. And also climate change is a very serious threat. A lot of natural disasters are happening now. And the danger here is, if the temperature increases beyond 3 degrees centigrade, the reversal of effects what will happen on this planet will become irreversible. That means on this planet, humans are only moving towards their end of the journey on the planet. They cannot be reversed. So it is our responsibility now to keep it below 1.5 degree. The global community is trying to keep it below 1.5 degree. And for us, the most important thing to remember is there is no planet B. Yes. Then what is the solution? Can you look at the solution? Is this possible by everyone? Ideally, yes, possible. But we cannot imagine this life, because we have moved in our own definition of developed world a very far. So we cannot go back and live like this. But then what is the way forward? So instead of living on environment, we have to start living with environment, living as one element in the environment, like all other living form of life on the planet. We also should become one form of life. Okay. Now let us understand how in our life we can adopt eco-friendly lifestyle and also mitigate environment and also enjoy the benefits of this developed world. Okay, now onwards, my colleagues will take you through many aspects how we can adopt good practices in our life. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Srinivasan. Now onwards, I'll be explaining on how the better lifestyles we can adopt at our home. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Sachin from Corporate Environment Team. So let us understand how we can reduce our carbon footprint. Do you know what we are made to Earth? So if you see, India is the third highest emitter of CO2 with 2.5 billion tons of CO2 per annum. Again, we have done many activities to reduce CO2 emissions. Like we are using 94.3% green energy, where it contributed to 241,000 tons of CO2 reduction till now. With these efforts, TKM stood at #1 position among Asia Pacific countries in CO2 reduction. Let us see what we can do in the coming slides. We are consuming electricity and fuel on daily basis, like excessive usage of electricity and using cars and bikes for lesser commutable distances. If we consume 1 kWh electricity, it emits 0.709 kgs of CO2, and 1 liter of petrol will contribute to 2.27 kgs of CO2. And obviously, like if we take one extra genes also to produce one genes, it contributes 541 kg CO2, means it emits that much CO2 to our environment. Let us see how can we improve our lifestyles to mitigate these. We are using around 0.5 kilowatt to 4 kilowatt hour electricity in our daily lifestyles through these appliances, which we use in our day-to-day activities. Now I would like to grasp your attention on what we can do. Let's switch to LED bulbs and never leave appliances on standby mode. And one more tip is, when buying bulbs, select the appropriate wattage based on the lux level required. We have different type of wattages available in the market. Also, some of the other ways to adopt eco-friendly lifestyle are to keep the house cool to avoid AC or coolers, and try to increase the cross ventilation by opening the doors and windows. Adopt solar power devices and new technologies like solar inverters, for which the ROI is less than 2 years. I think which we can afford by all of us to save the environment. Finally, practice some eco-friendly habits in saving electricity. Like we know, like everyone has having the washing machines. So how to betterly use the washing machine? So just some tips: always wash at cold temperature and wash on full loads, and avoid drying the clothes in washing machine. Try to do it in the natural way, outside environment. So choose eco-friendly products and save energy, which in turn save our money and also save the environment. Some of the additional tips we should or we must adopt is avoiding the electrical and gym equipments, and also for children or elders playing computer and mobile games. Instead of that, what we can practice is physical fitness using eco-friendly methods. A lot of methods were available for our fitness. And also physical activities like involving children or parents involving with the children and playing the physical games. So which their pressure also will come down. Let us see a small video tips on the energy saving around our home.
Saving energy around the home is easy when you know how. Just follow these simple tips and you'll soon enjoy great savings on your energy bill. Did you know that hot water systems are the biggest energy user in most households, accounting for around 30% of a home's energy use? Whenever possible, use cold water instead of hot. Washing your clothes with cold water is a good place to start. The average shower head uses at least 10 litres of water per minute. That's a lot of water. Install a low-flow shower head to greatly reduce the water flow. Take shorter showers. Use a shower timer and try to keep it under 4 minutes. Refrigerators typically account for 15% of a home's energy use. Make sure yours isn't using any unnecessary energy by setting the temperature correctly. 4 degrees for refrigerators and -15 degrees for freezers will ensure safe storage of food and minimal energy use. Do you own a second fridge? If it's only used for drinks, switch it off when you're not using it, or put a timer on it. If you find you never use it, why not get rid of it? It could be adding hundreds of dollars to your energy bill. Appliances on standby account for around 10% of a home's electricity usage. That can cost you well over $100 a year on wasted energy. The easiest way to save energy is by switching off appliances at the wall after using them. Enable the energy-saving features on your computer and switch it off at the wall after use. And of course, don't forget to switch the lights off every time you leave a room. How well your house keeps out unwanted weather doesn't just affect your comfort, it also greatly affects your energy use and bill. Heating and cooling typically accounts for around 25% of a household's energy usage. Check the seals on your windows and door joins to make sure hot or cold air isn't escaping. If it looks like there are gaps, visit your hardware store and ask about materials to improve seals. Only use heaters and air conditioners when you need to, and close doors to stop energy from going to waste. Air conditioning isn't the only way to keep your house cool. Use fans, cross-ventilation, and external shading whenever possible. Or for a cheaper, more natural solution, planting deciduous trees on the western side of your house can provide shade in summer while letting light through in winter. Thanks for watching.
These are some of the tips on energy saving at home. Now I would like to explain you some tips on fuel consumption reduction. So use always hybrid or electric vehicles. Whenever possible, use public transport. It's better to choose walking or cycling for the shorter distances and avoid bikes and cars. And also always practice a good habit of eco driving, where we should always accelerate and brake smoothly, and maintaining proper air pressure, and always say no idling. So these eco-friendly habits help us to reduce fuel consumption. So let's make this a habit. And now coming to consumerism, this means the consumption of goods in excess of one's basic needs. Means as we purchase more and more, the demand goes increase, so that the producer also will start producing more. So this is leading to the more pollutant emissions. So let us practice some good practices like what is required only we should buy in the right quantity at the right time. And whenever we go for a shopping, let us make a list of what is required and try to buy it in your nearby stores. Sum up what are the eco-friendly tips we can follow for CO2 reduction at our home. So now we can adopt like always switching off the electrical equipments when not required, and use solar powered devices and practice eco-friendly driving habits. Hope these energy conserving tips, if we practice in our lifestyle, we can reduce carbon footprint. Thank you very much. Yeah, now we'll continue with our some of the tips on water conservation. Now Mr. Arun will take you through this. Arun, you can.
Thank you, Sachin San, for the explanation. Namaskara, Namaste everybody. I am Arun from Manufacturing Environment Department. Before start to my presentation, just I would request to everybody, if there is any question or query, so please post in a comment box so that in the by the end of the event we can pick it up. So as we know all, water is a precious element on the earth and we call it as a Jiva Jala, means without which no life can survive. Now let us understand how we are dealing with in our daily life. Next slide.
Arun, you can do it.
70%, 71% of the earth is covered by water. Out of 97.5% of water in the ocean, only remaining 2.5% of fresh water available. In that 2.5%, 87% of water stored as ice, which we cannot use, and only remaining a very smallest portion for a human usage available for human life, which accounted is less than 1% of total water on the planet, which is shared among all the forms of life on this planet. The World Health Organization has set per capita consumption is about 112 liters per person per day based on the basic need. Currently, we are average in the cities we are using 135 liters per capita per day. Where we are spending all this water in our daily life. So it's the basically we are using in kitchen, laundry, shower, and flushing. All these activities are contributing in 135 liters. Dear friends, we all may have not have a sufficient water around us, but as a country, there are challenge for freshwater availability. It's about 60 crores of people are under extreme water stress availability. So it is half of our country nation. So around 2 lakh people die every year due to a poor quality of water. If the same scenario continues 2030, by 2030, almost 50% of groundwater will be gone. All these increases the water risk to our future generation. Do you really want to shift this risk to our future generation? If not, then we have to learn how to use and manage water efficiently. I strongly believe that prevention is always better than cure. Let us look what we can do to prevent it. Now, one of the solution I will going to share with some eco tips, how effectively we can implement to home through 3R concept, that is refuse, reduce and reuse. Let's understand what is refuse. So we must understand what is need or no need. We can refuse using water directly from the tap without valve, and we can promote instead of pipe or direct usage, we can promote by bucket wash, so that minimum required quantity water can be utilized and water can be saved. Now instead of spray washing our two-wheelers, four-wheelers, whatever vehicles, we can promote organic wash. Through these simple steps, we can expect 3 to 4 liter saving per capita per day. Coming to reduce, so we must ensure there will be zero wastage or optimum right quantity to be usage. So in reduce, we can ensure that there is no leakage. It is a zero leakage in our home. So let us arrest if there is any leakage from the tap. Dear friends, do you know a drop of water from the leakage tap? If you consider 1 meter diameter, which you cannot identify through by physically, so it can be drain out a 19 to 20 liters in a day. Fixing aerators also significantly reduce 50% of flow rate can be reduced through fixing aerators. And prefer bath using bucket instead of shower. So with these, we can expect 12 liters saving per capita per day. Coming to reuse, if you know RO water, if RO water is our RO purifier available in our home, the rejection of water percentage is about 60%. So let us collect this water and we can utilize for gardening or cleaning purpose. For your note, do you know if TDS level in water is less than 300 mg per liter, then RO is not required. We can directly drink. So in this regard, a central government regulation is also getting formed. Every day we use vegetables, so let us not wash them under the tap, wash in a bucket with the required amount of water. So after cleaning this, we can also utilize for this multiple purpose like gardening. Summarizing all these simple steps, it may look a small steps or small saving, but dear friends, just I want your attention. I want to take you a small example for your better understanding. If you consider today's webinar, so if you save a 20 liter water per day, if you consider today's webinar around we have a strength of 2,500 attendees where we can save a 42,500 liters per day. So have you ever imagined these 42,000 liters to whom all are we can serve? We can serve these 42,500 liters in 90 houses per day if you consider 4 people, which will be equivalent to 364 people. Very openly, I am from village background. My village contains almost population around 230 to 250 approximate. If you save a single day today, you can serve entire my village for next 1.5 day. So now it's your turn. You can imagine the saving of your own house. Are you considering your own home house population? So I'm sure definitely it will reach thousands liters together. Can you imagine the saving if you educate others? So how can you imagine the saving of overall Karnataka population? But I'm sure you cannot imagine the saving of India population. Definitely it will be a infinity. We can conserve water quantity in a mass amount. So let us initiate a small step towards to conserve Jiva Jala. In continue this presentation, tomorrow also we have one more webinar about water sustainability. Every drop counts by external speaker Mr. Vishwanath Chirikantaya. Let us participate and understand more facts and more. Let us initiate more actions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Arunsan. Now, yeah, Manjusan.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manjunath. I am from Corporate Environment team. So my theme is on waste management at home. So I will be taking you through the journey towards becoming an eco-conscious person and use the resources wisely and dispose in a proper way. So to give you a quick facts and worrying facts about food waste management is around 931 million tons of food has been wasted in 2019 across world, in which 61 tons of food has been wasted from the household itself. So when it coming to India, around 68 million tons of food has been wasted in last year, that is in 2021, whereas per capita per person we are wasting around 50 kgs per person. So here, if you are wasting food means you are not just wasting the food, you are also wasting the natural resources, very valuable natural resources which are used to make that food, such as pulses, oil, seed, water, to grow those fruits and vegetables. So we are wasting a lot of natural resources as well along with the food. To give some more facts, there are around more than 20,000 children are dying every day due to hunger or hunger related issues. So to give you some more facts that like water is one of the precious natural resource in the world. So as explained by one of my colleague. So to grow 1 kg rice, we are consuming around 3000 liters. To make a cup of coffee of 125 ml, we are consuming 140 liters. So just imagine if you are throwing a 1 cup of coffee means you are wasting 140 liters very precious water as well. So like this, there are many facts. So whenever you are throwing any food related item means you are not just throwing food, you are throwing a lot of valuable natural resources, which we cannot bring it back. So after this food waste will be handed over to municipalities in the India to manage it in a proper way to process. So if you look at the Indian states now, only 25% of the waste is being processed. Rest has been dumped outside or going for the landfill or burned in open air. So why? Because these are all mixed with different categories. So that's why even municipal teams cannot be able to process it. So what will happen if it is being burned in open air or dumped in open soil? So basically these waste will be polluting the water bodies. Then air pollution due to open air burning, also it contaminates soil. By all these three, it again comes back to a lot of health issues to human. It is like karma, what we are throwing and it is coming back in a different way, which is also affecting our economic position as well. Now coming to the what are all challenges, why we cannot able to manage the waste properly. The one of the thing is the infrastructure, where now the cities have adopted the culture of wet waste and dry waste, but in urban areas still it's not been percolated. Also the collection system is still need to be enhanced, but foremost on top of it, we have a people mindset and awareness on this segregation need to be changed, because a lot of people have a mindset of not in my backyard type, means their house, their street to be cleaned, but they throw the waste on the next street or next house, which they'll not bother. So this kind of mindset we need to change. So before that, let us understand what are all waste we are generating in our daily life. One such waste is like organic, plastic, metal. Organic means food waste, and all other dry waste such as paper, plastic, all those things we are generating. So let us see what we can do. So what we can do, or what we need to do, as first we need to change our habits, how we are living. First we need to become a responsible consumption. What we are taking, that we need to take account of it, and also the dispose the waste properly. Whatever we are generating, that we need to do. We need to change the way of our utilizing the current resources effectively, and also we need to manage them properly. So as explained, these are the two categories where now the municipal teams will collect. One is under dry waste, wet waste and dry waste. So all your food and kitchen waste, you can put it under as a wet waste, and the dry waste, all your plastic, cardboard, metal things, you can collect it separately. And also sanitary things, you can collect it separately. All these three you can give it to your municipal team, and they will process in a scientific way. And there are certain ways to manage your food waste within your house. You need not to give the municipality. One among is kitchen waste. You can convert it as a compost. There are many methods are available in the net. So one good method is open air composting, where we call it as in our villages tipe, where we will put the waste in the open air and it will convert as a manure, and we use it for the fertilizers as well. So there are many methods available. You can choose based on your convenience, and you can try it out. The next one is the food waste. You can feed it to the animals and like dogs or cattle, whichever is available. So if still you cannot able to use these two options, you can still hand over to municipality, where they will hand it in a proper way. And there are some more tips to reduce your food waste generation. First, while buying itself, please plan and buy only what you require. And also keep a track of your inventory, like what is there in your already fridge or in your house. Then keep a track of it, and also based on that buy it. It doesn't mean that you went to market and you need to buy all the stuff like that. Also love your leftovers, like whatever leftover in the afternoon, try to reuse it in the evening snack or in the night itself. Doesn't mean it is leftover means you need to throw it. You can also eat it back. Also, whenever you're buying from a restaurant, please try to take your own container or storage box, so that you can reduce the packing material of it. Also use the cloth bag or reusable bag for buying groceries or like that. So one quick fact is that one reusable bag is equal to 22,000 of plastic bags in a lifetime. So that you can imagine how much plastic you are eliminating like this. So for dry waste, coming to dry waste, there are many dry waste we see in our daily life, like old newspapers, notebooks, cloths, everything. So here also there are plenty of waste available, like from cardboard boxes, you can make it them as a storage boxes Also with the papers, you can make it as a storage bins. On all your plastic bottles, you can convert as a your garden accessories. So these tips are available on the handy in Google or YouTube. So you can have a good habit as well. So you can develop good habit as well. If still you are not able to do such things, you can still hand over to your local vendors in a segregated in a proper way, so that you can also get more money out of it. Still, in spite of that, if you could not able to find the local vendors, please hand it over to municipal team. They'll hand it in a proper way. So to conclude this, mainly we have three categories. The under wet waste management. So I request please prepare only that much you can eat, or while you are ordering through online, only order that much you can eat. And the manage food waste into a different categories, like converting it to compost or giving it to cattle, like that. And coming to the dry waste, first try to reuse them as a storage boxes or garden accessories, like that. And if not possible, give them to a local vendors. Then try using the reusable bags or cloth bags, and avoid online food ordering. Try to cooking as much as possible, so that you avoid a lot of packing material as well. And coming to the consumerism, so this is the most important nowadays, like Swiggy, Zomato giving you a lot of offers that, like you will daily you see a message that's saying 30%, 40% discount. It doesn't mean that you get an offer that you need to order something. So please order in a right time and right quantity, so that you can avoid the excess of packing, excess food waste. So through this, let us pledge to adopt eco-friendly lifestyle and manage the resources responsibly. Finally, our aim is zero waste from our kitchen or our home. Thank you.
Sachin sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, Sapna, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Manju sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Sapna Nayak from the Corporate Sustainability and the Environment Department. Today, I am here to talk to you about our food habits and how it is impactful to our health and environment. So let's go back and see how it all started. So the Green Revolution. So the Green Revolution was brought into action in the 1960s to increase, sorry, one second. So to increase the production of food grains using the high yielding varieties, fertilizers, pesticides, and modern equipment and technology. So you can see here, we have listed both the pros and the cons. So like I mentioned before, the pros is that it gives us more yield, it grows faster, the crops become more resistant to pest. But when it comes to the cons, they are more disturbing. Due to the use of synthetic fertilizers and chemicals, we are losing a lot of soil. And it is also generating a lot of pollution, which is led into our air and water bodies. And also it raises a concern of cross pollination because of the genetically modified crops. So now let's understand what are the impacts that the current food habits and the agricultural practices are having. So let's start with the human health. So you will agree with me when I say that we are seeing a lot more health issues related to heart, infertility, dermatology, etc. But these are due to the use of preservatives, because we all want mangoes in winter too. Why not? And the residue of pesticides. And on environment, because of the high use of fertilizers and pesticides, we are posing a threat to natural resources like soil and water bodies. When it comes to animal welfare, the usage of synthetic drug in our egg, meat, and milk is causing a lot of issues. For example, if you see the picture here, so this is a picture of a 48-day-old chicken. So with growth hormones, this is how the chicken is going to look. That is, it looks like a well-developed adult, but in the natural environment, it is still a small chick. So with respect to biodiversity, it poses a risk of food security. That is due to the important species that are the pollinators are getting wiped off. So now let me take you through a case study which is listed as India's worst pesticide disaster at Kasaragod, Kerala. So you might have heard about the endosulfan, a pesticide that was used at the cashew plantation for a period of more than 20 years. And as time passed, people started noticing various health issues that started emerging, like the central nervous disorders, mental retardation, cancer of liver and blood, high cases of miscarriage. There's also a case of a woman who's had miscarriage for 10 continuous times. So, but the sad part here is, though it is globally banned in 2011, the usage and manufacture of endosulfan is banned, we are still finding traces of it in our food. And various studies, various researchers have told us that now also we find a lot of pesticide residues in our daily food commodities. Next, let me introduce to you what are genetically modified food products. Genetically modified products are food that wherein the genetic material, that is the DNA, has been altered. Like here that you see the GMO corn and the organic corn looks the same, but the GMO corn has been introduced with the E. coli bacteria DNA. And I would like to draw your notice here, E. coli is something that is available in the human fecal matter. So why do they do this? Because they want to make the crop more resistant to pest, disease and environmental condition. And what is the risk with related to GMOs? So there are a lot of studies that are still undergoing which show that there is an alteration in the level of nutrition and it also gives rise to allergic reaction. There's also studies which have showed evidence that cancer is caused due to the gene mutation from the GM products. You might want to see these products carefully because these are the ones which are highly genetically modified. Now that we have seen that there are so many problems in our food habits, in the agricultural practices, what is the solution? And the answer is organic food. So organic food are the fruits and vegetables that are grown without any synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, are not genetically modified and are not exposed to any ionizing radiations. And when it comes to farm animals, they are raised without any growth hormones, non-organic feed and antibiotics. So what is the benefit of organic food to human and environment? First, it is more nutritious. Second, it is not genetically engineered as they are all on natural diet. Third, they have fewer harmful chemicals and they also allow the local ecosystem to flourish. That is, the bees and butterflies and birds can happily live with us. And there's no addition of any synthetic drug to make it look like a fully grown adult when it is not. So how do we make better choices? That would be by going local. So why should we go local? Because the local food has less preservatives. It is seasonal. So what is seasonal is what is available in your local market. It also protects the genetic diversity, promotes local economy, reduces carbon footprint, and obviously because the food is fresh, we don't throw it out that easily. So there is a lot less waste. So now let's understand why should we choose local over imported products. So imported or processed products. So when you see the supply chain of a food or a processed food, there's a lot of greenhouse gases that is emitted. And apart from that, the usage of preservatives. I would like to take you through this. This is a comparison that we have between the imported and the local. So imported apple might look more tasty, more shiny, more appealing. But I'm sure most of you know that the shine that we see here is wax. I would recommend you to try it the next time you buy apple. And taking this opportunity, I would request you all to eat a lot more homemade food rather than buying outside food. Just to give you an overview of the carbon footprint, I have explained the supply chain activity of pack of potato chips. One pack of potato chips emits around 75 grams of CO2. And this, my friends, I'm talking just about one packet of it. So just imagine how many we must have emitted or how much is our carbon footprint. So let's move on to understand how genuine or how can I choose whatever I choose is a genuine organic food. So these are the logos that you want to look for when you are buying organic food. And also you can look for a 5-digit code which starts with 9 on the organic product. So that this is how you can find out whether the food that you're buying is genuine or not. So next time you go out for shopping, you would I request you all to do a small research on what is seasonal in your area and then go by fishing. All these are easily available on Google. So kindly do this before you go filling up your baskets. So a quick recap on what did we learn today. So buy local, eat seasonal, say no to processed food, adopt good and clean food habits, go organic, because the more organic you buy, the more they will produce, and avoid outside food. The government of India is also promoting organic farming through schemes such as Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, National Food Security Mission, etc. So the government itself is urging farmers to adopt ancient agricultural practices. So now it's our turn to make a difference. So choose local and organic, and let's together make India chemical free. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shilpa from Corporate Sustainability and Environment Department. I will be explaining you about the household chemicals and how they are affecting our health. So through this presentation, I will be taking you through the various chemicals we are using at our home and how safe they are to use and what are all the natural alternatives available for them, and along with a few tips. So yeah, what are these household chemicals? So as per the experts, an average household contains about 62 toxic chemicals. And can you imagine, this amounts of approximately about 10 million tons of toxic chemicals, which are being released into our environment every year. So how it all started, like Sapna-san said, so it all started with the Industrial Revolution. Increase in this population explosion has led to the innovation in these chemical products. So where are these chemical products, find at our homes? I can say everywhere at home. So it may be bathroom, toilet, kitchen, bedroom, laundry, everywhere. So the chemical, if you start listing those chemical products, it may be disinfectants, dishwashing agents, surface cleaners, drain cleaners, and this list goes on. So how safe these chemicals are? So did you know of, as per the FDA studies, so 1 out of every 13 women and 1 out of every 23 men are exposed to these carcinogenic agents. You know what is carcinogen? Again, cancer causing agents. So you will never guess how many chemicals are there inside your body right now. So let's see a few more facts about these chemicals. So there are more than 80,000 chemicals registered for use today, but unfortunately only 200 chemicals are tested for this toxicity. That is, hardly less than 2%. And as per World Health Organization reports, indoor air can be up to 10 times more polluted than outdoor air. Again, the reason, if you find, it is again household chemicals. So what are all those major toxic chemicals present in our household chemical products? So if you start listing, the list will never end. So just to check, you can just choose any one chemical product present at your home, see the ingredients in it, and you will find all these chemicals. So most of this. So these triclosans, if you see, they are found at soaps, toothpaste, detergents, toys, everywhere. So, and yeah, health risks, again, weakening our immune system, thyroid, allergies, asthma. Friends, in India, around 15 to 20 million people are suffering from asthma. So again, if you start listing, list goes on, the chemical risks. So what are all the natural alternatives for this? So there are many solutions available, natural products are available, natural cleaning agents are available like vinegar, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, which is a non-toxic chemical, lemon juice, tea tree oil, and there are many solutions are available for this. There are few tips to limit your exposure to these hazardous chemicals. So use products which are plant-based and organic in nature. Use stainless steel containers instead of plastic. And if you're buying plastic containers, please check the marks 4, 2, and 5. And please stop using non-stick cookwares. And limit the usage of vinyl toys among these children. And if you're worried how to make these homemade cleaning products at your home, so it is not a tough job. So I have listed few recipes here. For all-purpose cleaners, just add half cup of water, half cup of white vinegar, and 20 drops of essential oil. Similarly, you can use, make homemade laundry soap, scrubbing cleaners, glass cleaners, drain cleaners, and for more information, you can just find the solutions on YouTube, and also you can Google it. There are a lot many solutions are available. You can prepare them at your home itself. And these homemade cleaners are people friendly, earth friendly, and also effective in nature. So one of such example I have shown here, that is bioenzymes, which are natural floor cleaners. I'll just show you this video. So these bioenzymes, since they have citric content in it, they are very effective floor cleaners. You can use them for kitchen, bathroom sinks, bathroom tiles. So for cleaning, you can just add 50 ml of bioenzymes to a bucket of water, and you can mop the floor. For if you're using this for toilet bowl, you can just sprinkle this bioenzyme liquid, leave it for 20 minutes, and you can scrub it. So this is for your information. So we have all seen advertisements which attracts us towards these chemical products, which says, it kills 99% of germs, kills in 30 seconds, which are not true. These products, it may kill only a small amount of strains or very few pathogens, sometimes hardly 3 to 4 pathogens, not all of them. And this contact time will be at least 5 to 10 minutes, not just 30 seconds. So how we can safeguard our families from these toxic chemicals? So list out all the chemicals present in your home in this check sheet and try to eliminate the chemical products and mention how best you can replace them with the natural alternatives. So please share your success stories to us, and with this below mail ID is provided. So friends, there are so many reasons to get chemical cleaning products out of your home. So it is good for the planet, good for your body, and also good for your budget. Thank you.
Namaste. I'm Pavitra from Environment Department. Today I'll be talking about how we make our home, our green home, eco-friendly place to live. So I'll quickly take you through few facts about our urban areas, because most of us live in an urban area, and today I'm going to talk about urban areas. So if you see, 13 of our cities are listed as most polluted cities in the world by WHO. And about our Bangalore, so we are one of the top 5 polluted cities in our country. So we are not very far from the Delhi. So the green city, which we all lived in and which we all were proud of. So in the year 1973, the green car in our city was somewhere around 68%, and in a decade time, it has reduced to 35%. And today, it's very surprising fact that we hardly left with 3% of green area in our city, that is Bangalore. And if you look at major reasons or the causes for losing our green area is, of course, increasing urban population and unscientific urban development, the vehicle exhaust, the construction dust, and the on-road dust, which is continuously contributing to pollute our city. So let's look at indoor pollution. So because most of us spend our time indoor, so the recent studies from our Indian Institute of Science shows that indoor air quality is 10 times more polluted than the outdoor air. So it is not just because of the pollution out, it is also because of our indoor practices. The mosquito coil or the liquids what we use, or the paint what we use, or the indoor purifiers or the cleaning chemicals what we use are one of the highest contributors for polluting indoor air quality. So today I'll quickly talk about how we can improve our air quality indoor. So I'm sure that no one out there would like to continue the way we are living now with the mask all the time. So my first tip is to develop a home garden. So home garden, it doesn't have to be very sophisticated. So you can simply use the containers what is available at home. Use the place wherever you have. It might be the terrace, it might be the balcony, or any open space in the house. Use simple containers which are durable to plant. So use them and use seasonal or native plants. So the seeds which are available at home, like mustard, methi, jeera, or any wheat what we use, we can use these seeds to grow our garden at home. And ensure that we use some waterproof layer on the terrace not to damage our structure, and use lightweight potting media like risers or cocoa peat or sawdust, which are organic in nature and it doesn't weigh too much. And always water early or late evening so that plants can make use of it effectively. And after every harvest, if you are growing a greens or a veggies, after every harvest, make sure that you remix the potting media to have a better harvest every time. So with this, we will be not just getting an environment benefit, that is indoor temperature reduction and increasing oxygen level in the house, but it's a very good opportunity in the situations like this where we can engage and educate our children on a cycle of nature and biodiversity. And for sure, all the parents out there like me, we all will be worried about the screen time our children are going through. So we can motivate them and reduce their screen time and engage them effectively through these outdoor activities. And also we can go for an indoor plantation. Use bright places. So what I suggest is whenever you're doing an indoor plants, make sure that you keep them in a bright place. Even though they are indoor, they require certain amount of illumination. You can't keep them in the darker places. The benefits of these plants will be like they of course help us in reducing toxins, what is being generated indoor. And these indoor green areas always helps to reduce stress among us. So we can practice these things at home. And wherever place available, it might be in the neighborhood or in front or next to the street. So try to plant at least 1 or 2 trees in front of your house. So with this, we'll be able to reduce 3 to 5 degree temperature indoor and also outdoor. And it also helps to prevent dust and noise, which is directly entering our house from the street. So for sure, watching greenery is a good stress buster for all of us. And just to help you with the selection of the plant, so you can always choose simple trees like mango, rose apple, honge, which we commonly find in Bangalore, pagade mara. These are like commonly available in any nursery and they are very easy to grow, less maintenance. You don't have to bother. So you can just plant and forget it. They know how to survive. And for the people who live in a community, gated community, so I would like to suggest have your own tree park if place available. At least make an effort to plant 7 to 8 trees in one cluster with all the native plants like jackfruit, mango, or any blueberries, people tree, banyan trees. So these are commonly available and we have been seeing these plants. So it's very easy to grow. Use your available place and plant them. So create a tree park. So it not just help us to get benefited, it will also be useful for the local birds and butterflies. They surely get some shelter and they can flourish there easily. So I'd also like to utilize this opportunity to just share a few facts or information on earth building. At Ecozone, Toyota Ecozone, we have adopted this concept for building education center at Ecozone. I'll share few important tips about healthy and eco-friendly building. So it will be useful for everyone who are planning to construct their house. So you can use sun-baked or mud blocks, which are zero carbon footprint, and they have a very good strength also to build a wall. We can use naturally available materials like wood or locally available material. So wherever possible, try to reduce concrete, steel, or reduce plastering. We can also go for a rammed earth wall for the structures which are not load bearing. And for flooring, we can use naturally available material like red oxide flooring or sandstone. So these are very natural and also health friendly. So always have open areas for better ventilation and natural illumination. And if you are painting your building, always go for a VOC free chemicals. So at last, we can always choose the fixtures or the appliances what we are going for, what we are going to buy. So always go for a 5-star rating so that we can reduce our impact. So with this, I would like to summarize our today's tips or the presentation what we have taken through in last 1 hour. So at least if we take 1 or 2 simple steps from this 1 hour session and adopt in your life, so we can make a better life and better world for the future. So I'll just summarize in this way. Make sure we all learn importance about environment and how we can save our natural resources. Always buy local and eat seasonal. Reduce our carbon footprint wherever possible. Use how much is required. Never waste resources. Say no to chemicals. Create more green spaces around you. So with this, I would like to end my session. Over to you, Srini-san. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for exceeding little time. And before closing, I would like to take up some important questions. Already we have exceeded by 1 minute. I don't want to further take the time. So first, there were requests on making this presentation in Kannada. We are really sorry about it. We have external people joined, maybe some of our supplier and dealer members, even though they are in small numbers. But we did not want it to cause inconvenience. In future, we will consider how we can maybe segregate or put it Kannada also along with this. And next question is how to penetrate this to the family. We have a different plan on taking this forward to the schools, community, and the family. We will come back and explain to all the people in further. Then homemade cleaners. Somebody have questions where these are available. As of now, the availability is a bit less. But what will happen is whatever the demand we start creating, then that market will start growing. So I think first let's start creating the demand and we can start ourselves making some small steps. There are many videos on the YouTube you can go through and some important you can pick up from them. And company actions also can be shared. Yes, definitely. We want to do this along to all employees and families in Ecozone. Ketkala-san and Vinay-san are always want to bring all the family members and community members to come to Ecozone to learn. That is the only purpose of that. So we'll definitely take their direction. Once the code is done, we will also arrange for families to visit to Ecozone and learn both. And one last question, video can you share? Just as a tip, once we close this webinar, live webinar, if you log in through the same link, you can see the video once again. However, we will share this presentation in video to all the contacts so that you can also use it. Go to any school and present this and modify it to your need, your suitability. Our main objective is we must reach this to as many people as possible. We will take this up as one task maybe for the upcoming days. Thank you very much for your all enthusiastic participation. Now I request Swami-san, General Manager Toyota Kirloskar Motor, to share his thoughts and also comments to close this session.
Namaskara. Thank you very much. This meeting, in fact, very informative. A lot of ideas are given. Only my request is please take these ideas, start implementing one by one. That is one of the easiest way, because a lot of efforts put by this team to collect all these ideas. Maybe many things when you start implementing, you will face a lot of challenges. In fact, in my house is solar. I have done a solar implementation and the benefit is quite good. I don't pay electricity bill, and this is implemented with the ideas which I got in the company. And also I failed in compost. I started the compost, but started getting the rats and some worms and smell. I stopped. So again, I have to make new ideas that how I will start, going with compost. So I don't want to talk much because already a lot of ideas are given. Only I request the host to make sure this material is available with all the people so that they can start selecting by themselves what they can start implementing in their lifestyle. With all this explanation, I'm really now stressed and finding it, we have to make a lot of changes in our lifestyle to really save this earth. So that is a challenge we have. I think with each one of commitment we can change. I would like to quote, it's quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you want to see the world. Means first I have to change so that the world can change accordingly. Without changing myself, I will not be able to change what I want. With this, I'll close my comment. Thank you very much for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swami-san, for the motivation comments. You rightly hit the point. Whenever it comes to the environment, people think, what will happen if only I do? So we really, I think you touched the right point. Be the change what you want to see. You start first and take first baby steps. No need to jump or run. Let us take baby steps. But while taking the steps, let's involve all the family members, friends, everybody, and move together. Let's make this better world better for the future generations. Thank you very much for all your enthusiastic participation, and looking forward to host you for the future webinars also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.